Russian bastard.
Pay attention!
Dramatic, nigga.
Trendsetter.
Yes!
Trendsetter.
Yeah, better keep that over there. Better keep that over there. Better keep that over there. You better keep that over there. Better keep that over there. You better keep that. Better keep that.
Yo, you got your hand in my face now, right? You got your hand in my face now, right?
You want something to say to me, man? Say it to me, man. What? What, man?
One of the most dangerous areas of the city. We can make the Farmington district a safer home for all of us.
What the hell? Listen, you get some kind of third ad going down there.
This March.
Doesn't bother you the things he does?
VICMACKEY is giving people what they want. What people want is to make it to their cars without getting mugged.
Netflix takes you.
Some cop roughs up some guy.
What's going on, YouTube? We're back in the Low Key Cave, Keyshawn Nimes YouTube page, aka Mr. Low Key, and we are back with another TV show review. But this time we're going back in time. I'm doing one of my favorite, not just TV shows, but one of my favorite cop shows. And being that we about to get a new TV show on HBO called We Own This City, I wanted to go back to one of my favorite cop shows, and which is called The Shield. The Shield came out around 2002, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe late 2002, early 2003, but if I'm not mistaken, it was 2002. And this revolves around pretty much a rogue strike team. Well, not a rogue strike team, but a rogue group of cops that's formed to call themselves the strike team. They are basically like this gang unit that's based in LA, predominantly around like urban neighborhoods, primarily Latino neighborhoods and black neighborhoods, lower income neighborhoods, and all of that. But the show is really based around this team as far as the strike team, and one of their main leaders as far as VICMACKEY. Season 1 of The Shield is just not our introductions to the strike team, but it's our introductions to a new greedy cop drama that I hadn't seen in a while since like The Wire. Because The Wire is not really a cop show. The Wire got so many different directions and so many different things going on that it's more than a cop show. It's basically really more about Baltimore as a city and the drug and the war on drugs that they would so-called call it. But when it comes to The Shield, this is primarily a cop show. You dive in the streets. You get certain even characters from the streets, but it's more focused on VICMACKEY and his team and this group of cops. Like I said, this show is real interesting in the way it's able to balance out different storylines and different point of views from different characters as far as the cops go, because the main focus is the strike team, but we getting different storylines from different cops like Dutch and Claudette. We getting different storylines from people like Julia and Danny, and this is like that first season. We getting different storylines throughout different seasons, but our main focus is VICMACKEY. Shout out to Michael Chiklis, I think that's his name, but definitely a dominant performance from him. Like I said, I can't even remember what made me what drew me to this show. Being that I was young, I was still in school when this show came out, but I love this show, man. This was no Law and Order. This was not like NCIS. This is not like those type of shows. This was about a group of corrupt cops taking the law enforcement and doing it with what they wanted to do with it, good or bad, and getting good side character stories or whatnot. But primarily, like I said, it's the focus of VICMACKEY and his strike team. But you got Ronnie, but you got Shane, and you got my man Lemonhead. Oh, what they call my man? My bad. My guy on the end, one of my favorites, Curtis. Well, like I said, they call him Lemonhead, basically Lim. Yeah, it's Lim, my bad. Because I recently did a top 5. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to spoil anything, but I recently did a top 5 with Lim. But my bad, but yeah, the strike team. But the leader, of course, is VICMACKEY. But like I said, you got Ronnie, Shane, and Lim. But yeah, it's primarily focused on this group as far as the series go. But in this first season, the main focus is really Acevedo, which is the captain of this of the barn, which is where the police pretty much headquarters is, and what they call it. And I'm not mistaken, it's a fictional place, but it's the barn. It was where they resonate at as far as this police department, or what they call it. But the main focus as far as this first season is really the investigation into the strike team. We go into this first season pretty much with the strike team already having a rap sheet, especially our main character, our main protagonist, VICMACKEY. And what's really interesting about a guy like this is that, I ain't gonna say we know exactly how bad he is, but especially by the end of that first episode of the first season, you know exactly how bad he is. And even moving forward from there, even after what he do, which is like he do some shit in that first episode that tells you right then and there who you dealing with and what type of character we following as far as VICMACKEY. We still are with it because of the acting from Michael Chiklis. Maybe it's me, but I don't think the show would be as good as it is, or people would enjoy it as much as they did if you didn't enjoy VICMACKEY. Like I said, one of the main things about not only just this first season, it's the main angle with is Acevedo finally going to get them, or is VICMACKEY finally going to get caught? You know, that whole triangle and them whole situations, especially those very tense moments where it seemed like, oh shit, he gonna get caught this time. They got him this time. And those last minute moments where he able to get some done or get out of it in a certain way. But like I said, this main first season is definitely the investigation of him and his strike team, and it's being led by Acevedo. And he's pretty much bringing a new guy into the fold as far as with the strike team, because the strike team is already formed. These guys are a tight group knit. But if you want me to be honest, they are a gang. They are straight up a gang. If VICMACKEY is the gang leader. And I mean, that's what it is. And once you watch the first season, you will understand absolutely what I'm saying, even after that first episode, I feel like. But you pretty much have Acevedo pretty much bringing in this new guy called Terry. And he's pretty much added to the strike team. And going throughout the episode, especially with this first episode, you watching this go along and you like, yo, this guy, he getting along with them or whatever. And then you come to find out he is working with Acevedo as far as forming this type of investigation, basically being a undercover cop into the group as far as the strike team. And once again, you watching this episode play out, and you seeing these guys pretty much chilling with him or whatever. You seeing the strike team get along with him. He's coming to barbecues with them and everything. Like, they seem like a close-knit group, excluding Terry, the new guy that comes into the fold. And you're like, yo, man, what's up? And you see certain things that Vic is doing to his team in that first episode. You kind of see how they are bending the law. I mean, it is kind of informative, because if I'm not mistaken, it's supposed to be based off the crash unit as far as the LAPD. You know, that unit that was going down hard on the LA, as far as the LAPD go, that was busting in people's doors with those what's names or whatever. But of course, this in the 2000s or whatever. But I think this loosely is based off that crash unit. But just to see the type of tactics the strike team takes as far as taking down suspects, whether it's maybe planting evidence on them, doing everything and anything to get a case, to make sure they keep their stats up. And that's another thing, and that's why I almost come in a little bit with those Wire comparisons. Not a lot, because like I said, this is more a cop show. And the Wire, like I said, was all over the place. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. But it does dive into, like I said, as far as showing those dirty tactics that police, or maybe just not just with LAPD, but maybe in general just police use overall, as far as getting an inside look at the dirty politics behind it with crime stats, keeping those numbers up. You remember The Wire, when the way it used to do that whole thing as far as the way they had those meetings about the crime stats, and the way they'll make those dummy arrests instead of going after the real major players the way they did with McNulty and them, with the way they formed that unit, and they was wanting to go after the big fish instead of the smalls and all of this and the third. But that's kind of what they dive into this one with. Not only that, but as far as just the corruption, seeing how police protect other police, and even a small percentage of honest police. They do show you a small percentage of honest police, and some of those individuals end up being some of our best characters in here, which is Dutch and Claudette. Brilliantly played by CCH Powder as far as Claudette, man. I remember CCH Powder from one of my favorite horror movies, Demon Knight, Tales from the Crypt. But the role she plays in here, if you got anybody that you feel like is not even Acevedo, but if anybody is going to be somebody that's going to be toe-to-toe or go stand next to VICMACKEY as far as giving him any type of issues or anything, as far as VICMACKEY giving him issues, it's going to be Claudette. And she doesn't even, in this first season, come off as like that. Like, it's a conversation that her and Acevedo have about Vic. And she's pretty much like, she doesn't get involved with other cops' business or whatever, but she also goes into a situation where she like, people want to be able to go to their cars without being mugged and all of this and the third, and it's almost giving you that perception that this is the type of cops that these guys are. They doing what they have to do to make sure people are feeling safe and protected in the community without feeling like they're in the type of situation. And that's another thing. Besides giving you all the dirty tactics as far as what they do, as far as sometimes planting evidence on certain suspects or doing whatever anything they got to do as far as getting the case, they work with certain criminals in the environment or in the neighborhoods. Basically creating that element of saying this is balance. Like, you work with me, I work with you. Not only that though, it's like, okay, not only that, we are working off of police salary. You saying you out here risking your life in all these type of situations, being a cop, not knowing where you gonna make it home or not. They basically saying we gonna get side money. We're gonna get a side hustle on as far as doing what we doing. And that's where you get into play as far as the role Vic Mackey plays. Like I said, this is a gang member. He's a gang leader and the strike team is a gang. But it's just showing you his structure and his power. Not only over what he's doing with his group, but not only just in the police station, and because he's supposed to have these upper friends and certain people that he deal with, speaking of which is Bill Gilroy. This is somebody who's pretty much the upper echelon over captain as far as over Aceveda. He's the big guy, and he's the only one that pretty much answers to the chief. He's the main line to the chief, and this is pretty much Vic's guy. He's his guy, so that's why he's pretty much got this little free fall to do kind of the things he's able to do, especially in this first season, and able to maneuver the way he's able to maneuver because he has Bill Gilroy. Not even gonna say in his back pocket, but they pretty much got a relationship. They've known each other for a while, and that's one of the things that's interesting about this show, especially like I said, diving into it, pretty much already getting the tactics of knowing that these guys are dirty already. And that's one thing I wanted to know was how did they get to this point sometimes? Like, I want to see that come up, like how did he get to this point? And that's one of the interesting things about season 2, which I'm currently watching, which I'm going to review. By the way, me be doing this, I'm going to be doing all, if I'm not mistaken, it's 7 seasons of The Shield. I'm going to be doing retro reviews of all 7 seasons of The Shield. I'm rewatching them currently right now, and I'm currently on season 2. But yeah, as far as this season 1 though, the main focus is definitely Aceveda and Vic Mackey's whole exchange, and them basically Vic trying to stay out of the limelight or stay out of the way of Aceveda, and basically not trying to get caught with the tactics that him and his strike team are doing. And it's basically Aceveda trying to find out about Vic and his strike team and find out not if they dirty, but just how dirty they are. That's his main thing. But side stories, once again, I feel like this is one of the good cop shows that are able to have multiple storylines and be able to contain them without losing us within our main characters, which, like I said, Vic and the strike team, Aceveda. I feel like that's our main storyline, especially with this first season. But we able to get good stories from side characters as far as Dutch and Claudette. And I don't even want to put Claudette even in that side character note, because I feel like she plays such a pivotal role moving forward. And she has good moments, and she plays important moments even in this first season. Like I said, she kind of stays out the way, but once that's a good thing that the show does. It's certain times that her and the strike team will have to team up on certain cases that involves both of them needing each other. And once they get involved, it's certain tactics. Like I said, you got Vic Mackey doing it, but Claudette is not here for none of that. Shout out once again to CCH Powder and her powerful performance, but her powerful presence as a black woman on television and what she was able to bring to a show like The Shield, especially going up against some guy like a Vic Mackey. But getting these side stories, like I said, from Claudette and Dutch. Once again, I don't want to leave Dutch out. Like I said, he's a great performer, especially him and Claudette, and they team up. They got great chemistry together as far as Dutch and Claudette. But it's not only just their chemistry together and the way they're able to work on cases together. It's the fact that they got some very interesting cases themselves. Once again, we are following Vic Mackey and his strike team, and they are definitely one of the ones and definitely storylines that we follow, even with the cases they dealing with. But when it comes to Dutch and Claudette, they come across cases where I was at point saying, yo, we might need that spinoff, or like just one episode pertaining to just the full case, or full episode just on them and them trying to solve a case, because it's the cases they come across that's not only just bizarre, but it's just like scary at times, but it's crazy at times, and the shit that they have to deal with and the shit that they trying to solve. And it's some standout, not only just episodes, but moments with both of those two. But not only that, but the people they dealing with as far as the cases that they are trying to solve. So they are definitely the standouts as far as side characters that we enjoy, and they got very, very good character developments going throughout future seasons. Other side characters we get that I would say that they kind of got interesting cases and they get into pivotal moments, but it's really some of their outside of the police station stories, stay personal life stories, as far as Julian and Danny, aka Danielle, but most of the time they calling her Danny in here. But Julian, he's pretty much a cop that is dealing with his sexuality. I mean, he's gay. And you know what I'm saying? Dealing with that fact that he's working around a bunch of these male individuals, it could be intimidating. And they really build upon his storyline, especially the things he's going through as far as being a cop. But not only just him and his sexuality, once it comes to him being a cop, he's still pretty much, I would say, he's somewhat a rookie, but not really. He's been kind of on here for a little while, but he's pretty much still being trained by Danny, which is his leading officer or whatever. And it's the situations he has to deal with being a police officer, but not only that, being a black police officer. And I'm glad they don't go too deep on the certain situations with him being a black police officer, but they do kind of come to certain points with that. But it's really that chemistry between him and Danny. I really enjoy their chemistry, because even with the times that they don't get along with certain situations, it's still great chemistry between those two. And once again, you're getting those good side stories and those sideline stories that you get to enjoy. But being that we got a lot of characters in this show, and it's being a cop show, we don't get distracted by the other stories we got going on, especially the main story we've got going on as far as in this first season with the whole thing between VICMACKEY and Aceveda, because that's our main two people that we really following in this main story as far as that season one, especially trying to find out, is Aceveda gonna find out about Vic and what he did, and is Vic gonna actually get away with what he did? And it's very pivotal, man, what he does in that first episode, because the triple effects of that, the domino effect of that, especially going on to further seasons, the fact that they don't even linger on it, but it's that build up, it's that slow burn, letting you know that this still, what he did in the first season, it plays out through multiple seasons in a good way. And that's why I'm going to be doing all of the seasons, because the way it does, like that moment really puts that strain on them. They do something else, but this is in the second season that I feel like really nails it in the coffin for the things that happens to them moving forward. But it's really interesting to see, once again, everybody, great performances, from Michael Chiklis to CCH Paddle. My bad for the other actors playing these guys, but the actors playing Aceveda, even the guys playing the strike team with Ronnie, Shane, and Lim. Very powerful performances. But the standouts, especially in this first season, is definitely my man Michael Chiklis as VICMACKEY. He is a standout, man. And it's even moving forward with other seasons where they start to bring on bigger characters, which I'm going to talk about when we move forward with other season reviews. It's the fact that this guy is able to still bring that strong presence, being that he's surrounded by these other veteran actors or even more nameable actors. It's the fact that he's still able to bring that presence and make you only still want to make sure we paying attention to him. Like, hey, they cool, I'm glad you got these big names, but I still want to pay attention to this guy as far as VICMACKEY. You love to hate him, and at the same time you get to love him again. It's that back and forth thing with me, because it's like, no, nigga, I don't like the fact that you did that, but it's the fact that, no, you need to do that, you gotta do that. It's that thing, man, because like I said, I'm a fan of these shows, especially like anti-heroes. I root for those anti-heroes because it's a dynamic between the things they do. In VICMACKEY, with everything I've said bad that he does, he has good moments. He has quality moments about him too, especially when it involves kids. Especially when it involves kids in cases, man. And I'm telling you, man, another thing I love about The Shield, and I didn't speak on that at first, but The Shield was one of those first shows that kind of brung like that extra violence and nudity onto cable network television as far as the FX. This wasn't HBO, this wasn't Cinemax, Showtime, or nothing like that. Like, you got commercials and everything, but they was showing everything. They wasn't holding back. And that's why this show was so raw, and that's why you was kind of be able to get those little comparisons to The Wire. As far as it being a cop show and being so grimy and dirty, but not only that, being so raw with everything it was showing, because that's not only just the cases, but it's the fact that things that they were dealing with kids in these shows, but it was real situations where you was like, oh, no, not with the kids. But that's what The Shield did. And that's why I say you can kind of give it those little comparisons to The Wire. But I miss the times of giving these type of shows like this. But once again, man, this first season is definitely tense. It's tense because not only are you trying to figure out is Acevedo going to figure out what Vic did, but it's the whole thing with the strike team and trying to figure out how are they going to get out of this situation, or are they going to get out of this situation. Not only that, it's coming across these very, very, very good cases that Claudette and Dutch come across, trying to figure out if they're going to solve these certain cases, because there's a lot of times where some of the cases they come across be on that law and order situations where everything don't peaches and cream. Shit end up real dark. Like, it gets dark in some of the way the cases in. It's like, even if they win a certain case or they figure out a certain case, it's almost like it's just a cloud where it's some shit where something bad happens so bad, it's like even when they solved that case, it was like nothing is being solved, or nobody comes out of this happy at the end, or nobody comes out of this still good in this situation. And that's what I was trying to say. But like I said, man, it's definitely some standout performances in this show. When it comes to Vic, though, his family, the guy doesn't play when it comes to his family, man. He definitely is one of a kind when it comes to his family, man. And that's one of the main things with the show too, is everything he's dealing with. It's not just the fact that he's trying to keep his nose clear from Acevedo or make sure he doesn't get caught or being a corrupt cop. It's the fact that he's trying to keep everything from his family too. He has a lot going on, whether it's this extra money he's bringing in, whether it's so much time that he's spending away at the police and not with his family. It's a bunch of those situations, and those type of questions come up within his family, especially coming from his wife. And that's a lot, man. And that's what I'm talking about with tense moments where how is this guy gonna juggle all this, deal with this, and not only that, by still leading his own team as far as what he's doing with the police, man. But it's very, very good moments, and it's very good performances by, like I said, Michael Chiklis and VICMACKEY. But like I said, this first season is definitely the pivotal point of just trying to find out if Vic gonna get caught and if Acevedo gonna finally catch him. And like I said, CCH Powder, as far as Claudette, man, her standout moments, because she has some good exchanges, and that's where you can see like that sand and that line being drawn. But not only that, just seeing that Michael Chiklis, and as far as VICMACKEY, as much as intimidating as he is, whether it's to the suspects or the people, or whether it's to the other fellow cops, like this big brood guy coming through doing what he's doing in the rap sheet that he's got, it doesn't mean shit to Claudette. She does not care, and she is willing to stand toe-to-toe with Vic, and that's why I love CCH Powder's character Claudette so much, because it's almost like you got all these different obstacles. It's just like Vic ain't like he can't be touched, but it's like too many people ain't gonna challenge him. But when it comes to Claudette, as far as CCH Powder's character, she is definitely one of the ones that's gonna challenge him. When it comes to Bill Gilroy, though, he plays somewhat of a pivotal role in here, especially when it comes to Vic. And it plays more out with the things that he has to deal with as far as trying to keep Vic nose clear at the same time, helping him out, especially when it comes to Acevedo. But like I said, when you want to talk about a good grimy cop show, but not only that, standout moments, good acting, and good story, this is definitely the one. It's definitely a one you should check out if you haven't had a chance to check out. Like I said, I'm going to be doing not only season 1, I'm doing season 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. Because if I'm not mistaken, it's 7 seasons altogether. And it gets better and better. But not only that, it's the characters they started to bring in. Even with the bigger names. They started to bring some big names in here. You're talking about like Glenn Close, Forrest Whitaker. There's some people, Anthony Anderson. Like, I'm telling you, man, I even got close. But yeah, man, this is definitely one of my favorite cop shows. Like I said, once again, I wanted to go back and watch, do a retro review of this, being that we about to get the new show We Own This City on HBO, which I am going to be doing reviews on. Definitely catch that, if not Tuesday, Wednesday, but most likely it'll be Tuesday. But yeah, y'all let me know in the comment section if y'all have seen The Shield. Is this one of the best cop shows of the early 2000s? Let me know in the comment section. If you haven't checked this out, you definitely need to check this out. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. This is the road to 500 subs. Shout out to everybody who's been checking me out. We do got a new episode of Uncut Ish Talk Friday, live at 9 p.m. on YouTube and Twitch. Once again, I appreciate everybody who's been checking us out live on the Uncut Ish Talk. We seeing y'all, man. We appreciate all the love. Thank you. Other than that, man, we out.
Is don't ask and don't tell.
To the dark side of the badge.
Your turn to play bad cop?
Nah. Good cop and bad cop left for the day. I'm a different kind of cop.
What is a good cop?
Remember, team comes first. Take care of each other, all right?
What is a bad cop?
Mac is not a cop. He's out on the phone with a bag.
Actually, do I want a problem?
No, I don't think you
I
want
don't
a
ever
problem.
want a problem. But when they say they want a problem, I say no problem. That's it. It makes people feel like I want trouble because I don't have a problem.